All right, we are back. Welcome to Prop Firm Dreams. This is going to be the November review. We're back from a little bit of a break, 2 Thanksgivings and 1 gender reveal later. My cousins are expecting, and it was a boy. So that's great news. It's always important to be thankful. Thanksgiving was a few days ago. And sometimes we can get so down in the dumps about how maybe we're not going as fast as progress as that we'd like, or maybe we're not making as much money as we want to, or we thought we'd be here, but we're only here. It's easy to lose sight of all the things we do have. Things like such as family, relationships. I got a house full of kids, and honestly, I just feel real blessed right now. All right, let's get to the recap. So last month, I want to say we won around maybe a little bit over 60% win rates. We made a little bit over 11.72 R. Spoiler alert, this month it did not go so hot. We had the elections, which were the first week, which in hindsight, I wish I hadn't traded, because that week was my only losing week since I've started this YouTube channel here, Prop Firm Dreams. We had some other things going on here. There's a lot of choppy days for me. I don't know if that was your experience as well, but at least for my system, personally, I had some technical issues. My computer froze a couple times, which was a disaster. Very scary if you're in the middle of a trade when your computer freezes. Tradeify, I want to say it was like a Wednesday, maybe the second week, a Wednesday, we had some Tradeify issues where the fills weren't going in as expected. And for me in general, I just had some trouble keeping up with all of my accounts here from a position sizing standpoint. Here you can see that I use a trade copier. I'm using the Apex copier, and for the most part, the copier does fine, but there are some issues, particularly around position sizing for me. For instance, there's an optimal position sizing if I'm just trading one account or a personal account, but when there's a bunch of different accounts of various different sizes, you get some issues such as, for instance, the direct funded accounts have consistency rules, but maybe my funded futures doesn't have a consistency rule. And so in one instance, the optimal thing to do is to let the trade run. In the other instance, you don't want it to run further than, say 20 points for some of these accounts. And so I'm always trying to figure out what the average best thing to do, I guess I should say, for all of these accounts. And there's position sizing as well, especially when some of them are going from micros to minis and some of them aren't. And this can create a problem on days where there's a larger range than usual. And maybe in my personal account, I would like to size down. Maybe even take a half size. But the way these crosses work, on some of them, I could do a half size. I could say I could go from 8 micros to 4 micros. But in other cases where you're trading a full mini, I can't go to a half a mini. And so I'll get an error, and those trades won't go through. So those are just some of the problems. I also have problems with my funded futures a lot this month, where they have a scaling issue. And so when I want to take 6E or Euro trades, the Euro trades on average are about, I would say, 4 times as small as a comparable trade on the ES. And so I run into scaling issues. And what ended up happening for me this month was all of my 6E trades on my funded futures were much smaller than they were on ES, which is a problem for those 3 accounts. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Despite the issues that I had, I would say the primary issue I had was not having good execution. The primary issue I had was just on me not taking good trades. I had several errors, the usual at chasing, a FOMO, stuff where I really just could have done better. Some compliance issues. In the moment, I thought I had enough reward on some of these trades, but then I go back and look at it and I go, what was I doing? Or I got in, jumped into trades late, and those were very costly. And so one of the things I do, and I just got done doing, was I review every single trade I've taken on ES and 6C. I review every single trade. I replay them all. And as usual, I did much better in replay without any sort of stress or anything on the line than I did live. So my actual results for this month were not great. I ended up making 3R. So remember last month it's about 11.75R, somewhere around there. So I made far less across the accounts, but I didn't have to. I track all of my trades in Google Sheets because, with so many accounts, it's hard to... Here, this is kind of example of what it looks like. With so many accounts, it's hard to keep things standard as far as dollar-wise. I don't really particularly want to look at that anyway. I just want to kind of know how my performance did. So I didn't do as well as last month, and it was mostly my fault. I'm not going to go through every single trade in this video. It'll be a long video. I don't think anybody wants to see that. But I guess I can pull up Tradeify for you real quick here. That might some people might be interested in that. I'll go here last month. So yeah, not great here. I'm right around 50% win rate, and the average win, a lot of my trades this fall have been 2R, 1.44 to 2R. This is about 1.35R. That's like a risk reward, so that's not great. A lot of it comes down to I had a lot of extra trades. I made a lot of mistakes on execution getting into the trades, and whether it was like the technical difficulties or, when my computer froze, or one time, embarrassingly, I accidentally went long instead of short. And so I had to kill that trade and put in the correct trade. I ended up taking a lot of extra trades, which ended up costing me a lot of extra commissions. So that wasn't great. I'll get rid of this here. So yeah, not my best work. I didn't do a good job of executing or following the plan. Certainly worse than I thought. And because I replay all my trades, I'm keenly aware of where my shortcomings are, which is the first step in fixing a problem, is just having awareness of the issue. Now, a lot of us are aware of things, but often we just repeat the same mistakes. So, the next step is coming up with a plan to, do better moving into the next month. I know what my best trades were. I had overall, I would say shorts were better for me. I had 6E in general was better for me. I had 2 really good 6E trades and 1 really good clean ES trade. Those 3 alone could have made a month. But it is what it is. And moving forward, we got 1 more month. No matter how you did, there's always still time. You don't have to be in a rush. And I think I fall victim to that as well. You want to get to where you're going right now without necessarily doing the work, doing the review, seeing how you're going to do better. You can go a long time making the same mistakes over and over again. I looked at someone's YouTube channel. I forget his name now, but this guy, he was, putting in video recaps and he was making the same mistake. And I started looking through his log and he was doing the same thing over and over and over again for about 18 months, as far as back as I was looking at his log. And so awareness is important, but coming up with a plan to change your actions and then following through is just as important, if not more so. So yeah, I was disappointed in my results. I felt like I could have done better. That's usually the case. But then before I decided to beat up myself too much, I started, looking around at some of my follows, and I realized there are a lot of people who finished the month negative. And back to being thankful, I'm just happy I finished positive. It may not have been what I wanted. I may have set my bar at, say, here and not reach that level of compliance. I think I was 70% compliance. Like, that's not a good look, but I was positive. I moved forward, and despite all the mistakes, the technical difficulties, losing a bunch of money during the election week, at the end of the month, I was positive, and I can attribute that to one reason, and that's risk management. I'm not going to lose more than 1 hour in a day, and I'm not going to lose more than 2, maybe 3 hours in a week. That's very important because so many times I look at people's logs and they might have better systems than me, they might be better traders than me, but no matter how well you do or how high a win rate you have, if you have one day where you blow up or you give back all those gains, it doesn't matter. If you have 1 week where you do so poorly, where that week in the red is more than your average week in the black, then that math doesn't work out. At the end of the day, it's just a numbers game. You want your winning days to be higher than your losing days, and you want your winning weeks to be at least comparable, preferably higher than your losing weeks. And if you can do that, you can stay in the game. If you can do that over time, then that's a winning strategy. No matter how you go about trading, if the math works, you can't help but drift higher over time. So no matter how you did this month, hopefully you've taken this time for some reflection. If you're in the States, hopefully you had a happy Thanksgiving and took a step back to reflect and appreciate the things that you do have in life. If you didn't do as well as you thought you would do, as you expected to do, and you're beating yourself up a little bit like I am, there's a lesson in every failure and in every setback. I recently heard a quote I really like. Setbacks are like a bow and arrow, setting me back to launch me forward. November's in the past. Take the lessons, learn from them, formulate a plan to move forward, and let's finish this year strong. December's a new month. For me, it's a short month. I only plan on trading the first 2 or 3 weeks and then enjoying the holidays with my family. But now is the time to come back stronger, double down on what worked, clean up that risk management, because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. And if the math works, the trading works. I almost forgot, Tradeify has their Black Friday sale, 45% off. It's probably the largest sale they're going to have for the foreseeable future. I'm a big fan of the straight to fund it model. I have 7 of these myself, and honestly, if I could get more, I definitely would. This sale is live only until December 2nd at midnight. That's Monday. So if you ever wanted to try the straight to fund it, now is the time. And if you want to help support the channel, click on my link below and use code DREAM at checkout for 45% off. Peace.